So this is episode 2 of Survival Nation Rants. Today I'm going to be talking about the ways to climb up the walls of this game. The first way I'm going to be talking about is kind of specific. It's a tree climb, where essentially there's a flaw with the tree hitbox where from certain angles it's actually possible that when you stick your head into the tree like I am now, the hitbox will actually make you go up. This works not with all trees, but with a decent amount, and this one happens to be one of the more useful trees because it allows you to climb basically anywhere in Western Camp area. So basically, you'll notice here my hands are like off to each side. The way you kind of find where to move is that you want to find the spot, because the tree you can touch with your hands. So you see here I'm trying to clap basically, and it's not letting my hands come together because the tree hitbox is in the way. I'm doing something, just give me a moment.
What's up?
I'm recording a thing. Just, yeah. You don't have to leave, I'm just telling you. And the most important thing when you're doing this is that you'll notice I walk up to the tree with the in-game movement, but then right from here I stop using my joysticks to move. I'm literally moving in real life into that direction. You don't need a large boundary for this. It makes it easier, but you can just use the in-game turning. You might see me do this here. I'm not sure. No, doesn't look like it. And you just want to keep moving in this direction, and you'll see right about here, my hands come together, and there's a little snap right there. That's how you know you're at the top. And then from there, if you're escaping the map, in this instance, you can run off the side, and you'll see here I'm floating off the ground, and there's an invisible wall here as the fishing rod shows. And that's kind of one way to do climbing, and that really only works as a map escape, but it does gain you height. Similar to that is what I call a glitch climb, where certain walls, in this case this is out of bounds, but it's still climbing, is this, where basically if you stick your head into a very specific angled wall, you'll start climbing. As you can see here, I'm gaining height. The way I kind of do these is I keep my head somewhat in the wall. You can see my camera's a little bit inside here, and then walk back and forth. You see me going back and forth like this. That kind of generates a little bit of height at a time, and then at some point you reach a spot like this ledge where you can continue. In this case I don't, but then you can see here how this other person I'm with is kind of gaining height, but they're not doing anything specific, so they're kind of just standing still. You want to try to do what I do here, which is just walk slightly back and forth. You see it's like 1 foot maybe, until eventually you get to a spot where you can continue just walking normally. And here is definitely the most powerful of all the climbing exploits, which I usually call like campfire climbing, where basically the way campfires work in the game's code is that it starts at your head, which is probably the player's origin position, and what it does is it picks that point and then tries to find the closest valid ground that the game will allow a campfire to be placed. But it only goes out a certain range. So if you're really far out, like we are here, when the game tries to find the closest valid spot to your head, it fails the check, and it'll place the campfire where your head is. So you can see this is, my feet are like down there, but my head is all the way up here. And this allows you, when you fast travel, your feet go to where the campfire is, which means you've effectively moved from where your feet are on the ground to where your head is, as high as whatever you set your height to be. And then generally you want to do this on a sloped wall that you can stay moving into, where you can stand even though the wall's very vertical. You can't do this on so like you can't do this on this wall because you can see it's slanted you can see it's slanted in the other direction, like it's slanted this way away from your feet, so like it's hitting your head before your feet, which means you'll just fall if you try to stand on it. Whereas this, it's angled down like this, which means your feet can stand on it without falling. And then you can see here, I gain a little bit of glitch height from that, and then I just place another campfire and then fast travel. And then just that again to gain more and more height until I'm up onto here. So all the way up until you're out and onto further area that you couldn't have unlocked without that glitch. And then something that hasn't come in use for now as a map escape is definitely still good to know. Usually I call it like corner climbing, but here you can see I'm not that high off the ground, but then here I think I start doing it. Yeah, here you can see I'm pretty close to the ground, and then what I do is essentially on a corner like this, where there's this edge where one terrain triangle transitions into the other, where there's this corner. You have your head into the thing, so you'll see like my body looks very weird because my head is over here where my feet are over here. And then because of this geometry, you'll see I snap up slightly, and that allows you to gain some height. So like right there I gained some height, and I go back, keep my head on this corner, and then go back and I gain a more height. And then you can keep climbing it like that. And like I made it here even though I couldn't before without the corner. In this case it's not useful, but it is good to know in case that's a situation where you're in a situation where it helps. And then also right here is kind of something where there's this like tiny there's like a small reason why I can't get up here, like this tiny little wall that's not letting me go past. But if the reason I can still get past it is because when you move your body like into a spot where it wants to, where you can stand, and there's no wall, you can get your right there. You see that you can get the game to kind of snap you up, like the distance you need to just barely get across. And my theory on why this works is that, so like that like very bumpy transition here, that's all the game like trying to get me back up after falling repeatedly into a spot where I couldn't get out. And the reason I think that this works is because the game will prioritize keeping your head and feet in the same place in certain situations. And in those certain situations, it's possible for it to prioritize your head and body being aligned over having perfect perfectly recognizing when you can and can't move somewhere. And those are the kind of the four big glitches that I use to do out of bounds stuff. Later, I'll talk about some specific spots I found that are very powerful in terms of how much coverage they have from the glitch to when you can walk around out of bounds freely. And then I'll also talk about some non-out of bounds related glitches and technical information. And yeah, that's it.